Good morning. We have been discussing NoSQL databases. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have discussed what are the theoretical principles behind it. So there is a cap theorem, there is a Bayes theorem. So which actually makes sure that which ensures that whether your application can be become a good use case for NoSQL database applications or not. So that was basically a theoretical background which is required for making a decision whether or not you should use NoSQL database for the application. Now, as I told you that there are different types of variations which are required to be handled, which are required to be taken care of when you talk about the variety, that is the third V of big data. So depending on the variations which is there in the application, there are different types of database technologies are also there in the market. So these are the four category of NoSQL databases which currently exist in the industry. First one is a key value store. Second is a column oriented database. Third is graph oriented database, and fourth is a document driven database. So let us discuss each of these one by one. First is a key value store. Now imagine that your entire table in a database is having it is represented in form of key and value, where key is unique for the throughout the record set, and value can be any value. It can be any JSON object, it can be any blob object as well, binary large object. So when your entire database is structured in this format, it can be told as a key value database. So these are the most basic type of NoSQL database, and interestingly, the theoretical concept behind this is used in document-oriented database as well. But this was the first version of NoSQL database which was introduced. So what is key and value? Key is any unique number which is unique throughout the data set, and value can be any value which is represented by key. So it is designed to handle huge amount of data. It is based on Amazon's Dynamo. DynamoDB is basically a product which is a key value product which was built by Amazon. So again, initially it was a proprietary product, and then that Dynamo was made available for the research paper was made available for the community, and taking reference from that, various other key value data store also have been implemented. So Amazon DynamoDB is one of them, and there are others as well. We will discuss what are those technologies. So what are the advantages? It allows the developer to store schema-less, because what is the schema? Schema is very simple. There is a key and there is a value. So key can be any unique number which you can design, and value can be anything. It can be, it doesn't require to have any schema at the beginning. So what about the storage perspective? It stores the data as a hash table. Obviously that hashing will improve the search operation. I think you have studied that in data structure, that creating hash and representing that using hash based indexing is used mainly. So index is created on a key value which is obviously unique, so hash will also be mapped to the, and then again appropriate hashing collision resolution technique will be used, but ultimately it will improve the overall performance of the search query of the entire database. Key may be string, it can be hashes as well, and list set or sorted set or value are stored again this key. That means value can be anything. It can be array, it can be an object, it can be an array of object, anything. So this is an example. I don't think it requires, means basically a key is a name and value is a Robin, but you can't have name repetition. So basically this is I think the good example is your let's say your entire data is being maintained on student data, and your enrollment number is a key. So enrollment number, and then you have a information of that student. So that is an example of key value database. With respect to the CAP theorem, it actually performs, or it goes well with the availability and partitioning. And there are various use cases where this kind of a data store is required. Shopping cart contains or individual values like color schemes, landing page URL, etc. So there are various fields where this is useful. So let us just have a quick overview of these are the three databases which is based on key value. Obviously, this Dynamo is a proprietary product, so it is not freely available, but there are other two which are actually available. One of them is Redis, and other is, I think, Riak. Okay. So these are the two databases. I think it has an open source version as well. So if you go for these, there are different versions. Remember, all these technologies has two versions. One is an open source versions from which you will start working on it, and once you will get used to it, then you have to pay for some advanced features. So that is how this entire model is based on. Financial model of this technology is based on. So most of the time, you will, here also you will find the uh, open source version, and then if you want some enterprise support, then you have to pay for it. So this is how it works. From a learning perspective, you can start learning any of this. So, and I think this is Dynamo, Amazon Dynamo. So there are various use cases where this kind of a database is applicable. For example, let's say we have a weather application. So it's a simple application where a user will request for the weather information. So this is how you can build an application on using all the technologies of AWS, which has DynamoDB as a database. The point over here is that how this key and value will be maintained. So the key value will be a timestamp, key will be a timestamp, and value will be the weather information. So that information can be temperature or humidity, or it can be anything. But what would be the key value? Key value will be the current timestamp. So this is how you can build a weather application, and this is mobile backends also you can implement. See, these are the various use cases where, let's say, this is analysis of streaming social media data. So you have one application, Kinesis. Basically, this is a streaming application, which is again provided by AWS, which can which can be integrated with DynamoDB. Now, again, what will be the key over here? Because you are dealing with the social media data, you have the social user, and each user is an individual one. So there doesn't exist two users with the same identity. So obviously that user identity can be your key, and the entire profile or whatever the post or anything which that particular user is doing, it means all the activities can be its value. So this is how, but here it is a kind of a technology where there are no multiple tables actually. There is no kind of there is only a single data store where you have a key and then value, that's it. So that's how it is. It differs from the other. I'm not saying you can't have the different tables or etc., but normally this is the use case of this kind of a databases where you have a this requirement that entire data can be stored using a simple key and value pair. So I'm not integrations. This is also important. I think this is very popular. This is very popular open source database, key value database, which is widely used for a big data application. Obviously, Dynamo is there, but Sometimes the cost of because this kind of a product it works on the request response. The charges on the request based on the request. So sometimes it's not found feasible to use these applications. So people used to use this ReactDB when they required a key value database, and it can easily integrated with Apache Spark, Apache Solar, Apache Mesos. There are many. So these are the various key value database which is there in the market as well. So these are the industry standard data stores. The next is a column-oriented database. Now, in order to understand this column-oriented database, you need to understand the actual data storage when we are dealing with the relational databases. This is the difference. All your MySQL or Oracle simple relational RDBMS databases are row store database. Row store database means that the entire row of your entity will be stored together in a memory. Remember, your memory is sequential, right? So let's say single row requires 100 bytes, then 100 bytes in series will be occupied for this row. Then next 100 byte for next row, then next 100 byte for next row. What are the limitations? Let's say you want just a CT attribute of entire table. You want just a CT attribute. So what do you require when you want to, from the database perspective, from access mechanism perspective, you need to bring or you need to scan. If you are not bringing in a memory, but still you need to scan a CT attribute at every 100 location. That means they are not in nearby. So when they are not nearby, what it makes is you have to, from a IO perspective, you have to search for or you have to look into the various blocks which are actually distributed across the diversified storage. So, and imagine there are 1 million records. So you want a CT from these 1 million records, and these CTs are actually distributed across the entire memory space which is available or which is being occupied by that particular database. So this is the limitation of row storage requirement or row store or row oriented database. This is mainly used for a transactional purpose, but when you want to use a database for analytic purpose means that you want some specific column. Normally the analysis, whatever analysis is being done, it is being normally you are, let's say you are interested in the transactions or amount of the transactions, then you are only interested in that amount column. Or let's say how many users are from this particular city. So normally you just are interested in the city column. So what is the column oriented database will do? It will, instead of storing this entire row together, it stores the entire column together, or it efficiently manages a memory in such a way so that entire columns will stay together in a memory. So whenever you require a specific attributes or a group of attributes, your memory access or your IO operations will be optimized, because all the data which you require is available in nearby locations. So you can just pick that entire block of data and your purpose will get solved. So that's why a column oriented database are used. Obviously, from a reading perspective, it will work fine. From writing perspective, it will have some complexities. So it's there, complexity is there when you are dealing with column storage. But sometimes we are talking about big data analytics, and analytics means that you already have a data. This is not a transactional data. Transactional data means the data which is being changed or updated or created on a day-to-day basis. In some application, your data is always there. You have the transactions. Amazon has the transactions of last 10 years available with them, their data storage. So they want to perform or process or analytics on that. Data is already there. but it is stored in a row-oriented database technology. So better that you shift that ready data into the column-oriented database, and so that your analytic operations will be faster, or it will be an efficient one. And that's why most of the time this is used for the post analytics. So it is used for analytical aspect, because in that only you are interested in some attributes, some columns, and this technology will help you for doing it. So it primarily works on a columns, and every column is treated individually. It is stored on a memory also together. The entire values or of all the rows of for that particular columns will be there in a memory together. Value of single columns are stored contiguously, and I think these all we have discussed, that query processor will works on column 2. That means most of the time you are firing a query on a column, and all data within each column data file will have the same type, which makes it ideal for compression as well. Because you are dealing with a single column, and because you are representing a single column, that means you know the format, exact format of that, and that will be helpful, or that will be useful. For example, if you are saying uh, optimizing compression of, let's say, pin code. You have studied compressions technology. One of the technology is Huffman coding. If you remember the algorithm subject in 5th sem, there was a Huffman coding, and that's a variable length coding we have used. But let's say you are dealing, or you are interested in compressing the field which is having stored as a pin code. So you always know that pin code means 6 digit, and it's only digit, so it will be anything between 0 to 9. So you can easily incorporate any compression technique which works better in that particular case. So there are various advantages of having this. First is the storage technique. So the retrieval will be faster because they are stored together. And second is this one, that the optimization of storage, or storage will also get optimized due to better compression technique, because you know that all the data which you are actually interested in to store are of similar type. So this is column oriented database. It improves the performance of query. Most of the time we require performance on aggregation query. So you have count, sum, average, mean, max. These are the five aggregate functions which are most widely used everywhere. Whatever analysis you want to perform, majority of time you are interested in aggregating that thing. So what are the use cases? Use cases are, as I told you, you already have a data with you in some another technology. You want to perform analysis on that. So better you take that data, store it in a column-oriented database, and then perform the analytics. That will improve the performance of the analytics. So data warehouses and business intelligence, customer relationship management, CRM, library card catalogs. So mainly used for a huge data. It's a volume which actually which is a main key property of having column-oriented database. Cassandra and HBase, and there is a Bigtable. Bigtable, if you remember, it's basically a Google product. Okay. Right. So Bigtable is a column-oriented database. You see the key features. Okay, use cases. So this is important. Let's say you have a financial analysis. Financial analysis means that transactions are already there. You have your transactions of your banking customer. So, and then you want to perform the analysis. It's already there. You have the data, so you take it for processing and use it for your purpose. Then IoT, advertising. So Bigtable is one of them. Again, this is a proprietary product, so you might have to pay for it. So what are the other versions? So you have HBase and Cassandra. HBase is an Apache product. So it is an open source version, right? Normally what people do, it takes the data from some relational database and it stores into the HBase and then performs the analytics. Then Cassandra. Again, it's an Apache product. See, I think you should see this. It's a very interesting community and I'm very much fond of this community. See the projects. Okay. So these many products are there for Apache and majority of them are open source. I think almost all of them. So there are a number of products based on your requirement. You can use, let's say this is IoTDB. So you have this specific data store which is specifically made for IoT applications. So I think if you find some time, you have to just at least have a quick overview of what is there in the market. Okay, this is just a one community. This is just an Apache. Now, everyone else has its variation. So Velocity, it's a Java-based template engine. So there are. I'm not saying it just the big. These are not just big data application. Remember, these are various projects which is built by Apache community, and the range where these are applicable, it varies from almost, it covers every aspect. Let's say these HTTP components. Okay, so it is mainly a component which you can build, a web component using HTTP, which works for HTTP protocol. Then CouchDB is also an Apache product. It's a document-oriented database. We'll discuss. It is there in the sequence. CouchDB. Again, it's very popular database when it comes to the world of open source databases. So these are the column-oriented database. The main advantage is that your entire data is stored in a column. So whenever you are interested in getting the result from that column, aggregation functions, then this is very useful. Next is a graph database. This is a kind of a database where you can imagine that entire data is represented in form of graph. So graph means there are nodes and there are edges. So you have these are your data points, 6, 4, 5, 2, 1, and these are the connections. So I think the very good application of this is social network application. Next is Bitcoin. Sorry, I'm not saying Bitcoin is actually an application, but the this is very popular nowadays. Just forgot the name actually.
Blockchain, sir?
Yeah, blockchain. Thank you. It was there in my mind, but so it is widely used for that as well. Blockchains. So graph data structure. Again, what is graph data structure? Your entire data is stored in a form of graph where a node can contain the identity of the data point as well as the activity. Just imagine that social network. Okay, so you are a user, you are a subscriber. So for every social network user, there will be a node. And then you have a connections, your friends. So then all your friends is actually connected via some edges. So it's very easy to understand. So these are all the graph properties only. So what is graph? Graph is a collection of node and edges. Each node represents an entity and each edge represents a relationship. So again, you can map your entire ER diagram using graph as well. But every node and every edge are identified by some unique ID so that you can access it. And obviously, because it's a node, it will have some adjacent nodes. And As the number of nodes increases, the cost of a local step or a hop remains the same, and index for looks up. So you can apply. See, what are the advantages of having this kind of a data set? The advantages is that first, there is a specific application where this is applicable, and second, you already have your algorithms ready for improving the searching in graph, for finding the shortest path, for finding the minimum spanning tree. So you already have all the technologies or the algorithms which are already available, which is implemented for a graph with some another applications. So now you can use all of that knowledge, all of that algorithms for a effective management of database, and that is the biggest advantage of having a graph-oriented database. So this is just a simple comparisons in relational model. Something which is known as table. Here you have that as vertices and edges. Rows means the record informations. Here you can say that it is maintained under the vertices. Columns, that means for within a row there are different name, address, contact number. So that can be represented using a key value pair within that vertex. And then you have joins for relationship. You have an edges. There are many graph database, but the most famous is Neo4j. I think it is very good database. Okay, Neo4j. If you search a graph databases, you will find other as well. But Neo4j is the most popular according to me. Okay. There are others as well. OrientDB is also one of them. And there are many companies which are actually using this. What are the use cases? Fraud detection analysis, network and database infrastructure management, recommendation system, then access management, social media network graphs, retailing, telecommunications, government, and data privacy and risk compliance, life science, artificial intelligence analytics, many. Why there are many applications? Because if you remember, everything is related in this world, and that relationship you can always represent it in form of graph. So it's just the way you represent your data, you can use this technology. I think you should see some documentation actually. For the database. You will find that how actually you can create the data store. You can just create a node and that will I think this site has changed actually. There was some developer guides. Okay, so this is a good way to start with. Actually, first step is how do you model your data. So you have to put on some paper and then you can simply try to find out or identify some nodes and edges into that. So, and then you can go further. Okay, and this is how you represent your data. Then once you are ready with it, the representation, and then you have all the tools available with which you can create the database, and then you can play with your data as well. So where is that queries? Yes, I think this is. Okay. Obviously, you have libraries in each this technology. For this, you don't always require to execute this kind of a query. Okay, this is basically you are creating some nodes and then you have some edges, right? So this is how you fire the queries. Obviously, you have libraries where this can be done. So, but internally, it's like you are creating a node, then you are specifying the edges, then you are creating a child, etc., etc. So these are the examples. There is Orient DB as well. Okay, Orient DB is a community edition. That means it's an open source database. You see the basic concept. This one. 1 minute. This is basically a mixture of those who are coming from the relational background. They can easily relate with this database technology. So you can search and you can look into that. These are the various options available for graph related database. And finally, the document oriented database. Now, document oriented database is, as the name suggests, you have a document which can represent anything in form of key and value. And then on the top of it, you have a collection of documents. And then on the top of it, you have a group of collections. So it's similar to what we see in ERDI, the RDBMS, Relational Database Management System, but it is different from RDBMS from the perspective of schema. In RDBMS, you should have a predefined schema ready with you. In case of a document-oriented database, the actual content is schemaless. Maybe the collection set or everything should be ready with you. Obviously, it's always going to be ready with everyone when you are building some application. But still, the actual data content can be schemaless. So you should be aware that there should be a user table, there should be a post table, there should be, let's say, a tweets table. But then what can be a tweet, what can be a post, and what will be the user profile, that can be schemaless. So it's a mixture of both. You have a power of relational database as well. At the same time, you have liberty of schema-less design as well. So this is a document-oriented database. Data in this model is stored inside the documents. A document is what? It's basically a key value collection. Not forced to have a schema, and therefore it's flexible and you can change easily. And these documents stored are stored in a collections. Again, this document 1 and document 2 in a same collection maybe can be of a different schema. So collection is basically a logical group. It's not like all the documents within a same collection should have a same schema. ऐसा नहीं है. Collection is basically a logical group of documents, or you are putting them in together. So this is a difference between why we are saying this difference, because you can easily relate these two. Table is equivalent to collection in document oriented database. Rows in RDBMS, you can easily understand it as a documents in document oriented database. Columns, in case of RDBMS, here you are representing it in form of key and value. And joins, that means relationship, theoretically it is not available, but nowadays even Mongo allows you to have a joins. So again, there's, as I told you, that these database technologies are under development. So they keep on adding the features and everything. The latest version of Mongo, I think 4.2 or 4, it also supports join up to some limit. So MongoDB, CouchDB, these are the document oriented database. Actually, there are many, but Couch, I think we have seen. MongoDB, if you remember, initially it was an open source product. Now, obviously, free में कुछ चलता नहीं है, so then they have started with different versions, and there are some products in Mongo as well which are a paid product. But apart from it, these are very popular database. Apart from this four major technology, I think you should see some real-time databases as well. So Firebase we know, but then you have a Rethink. Okay. So this is also a document database, but it has a real-time kind of a structure. So you change it at one place, and that will be easily integrated with the others. So Firebase is one of them, but again, Firebase is a proprietary product. So if you don't want to spend on it, then you can use this as well. This is also a document oriented database. Also, even NASA is also using this. So I think this was all about what are the various NoSQL databases available in the market, in the industry. They are used everywhere, and as the application changes, as the requirement changes, the domain changes, you may require to change the technology as well. So this is all. Is there anything which you want to ask? So at least you should try some each. I'm not saying you can try all of this, but at least just go through it and try to find out that which database is preferable for which kind of an application. That will improve your the understanding of data modeling. Remember, whenever you will go into the industry, and the first thing which will be required to understand is how do you model your data, because that will give you the answer about the technology which you should use. So that will be helpful if you have, I'm not saying the thorough knowledge, but at least you should have a glimpse of everything. So you should understand each and everything in concept. So that's it. You can try for your project as well. You can try at least one database for some of the module of your project, or that will help. That will make sure that you can have a hands-on on these technologies, and which will be very useful for your future as well. So that's it for today. See you tomorrow.